Hi, it's John for your loyal NPC, hopefully your favorite NPC. Today I'm really excited to bring to you a new tool for Role Playing Tips patrons. We're calling it the GM Mastery Campaign Logger, and it's open to you right now in beta test. I'm going to quickly go through what the tool does, describe kind of what the thinking is behind the tool, and then I'm going to give you a demo of the tool, and the video will also show you how to use the tool. So once you jump in, you can see how it works and get started right away. With this mind map, I'm just going to quickly step through what the beta is about, what the tool does, why I created it. Then I'm going to show you a demo of the tool in use, and then quickly go through next steps. The beta is based on a single login. So we all share a login just for this stage, so we can all see each other's campaigns. So just keep that in mind. But the campaigns are not open to the public. So it will be behind a login and your players won't be able to see your notes. Hopefully you get a chance to use this campaign logger not only to plan your sessions and to handle post-session wrap-up notes, but to actually log your campaign sessions. The goal of the beta is to improve it and get your feedback on it. I'll get your feedback via the GM Mastery forum. There's a link in the tool to the forum if you don't have the address to the forum right now, or you can send me email directly. This is a sneak preview for everyone, but eventually, once it's launched, it will be unlimited access for Platinum patrons. But everyone can access the tool right now, try it out, see if you like it, and give me feedback. Your feedback will actually be the roadmap for how we create or how we develop and improve the tool. So features that you want to see right now is the time to have them mentioned and brought up so that they can actually be coded into the tool, because we're just in the early stages of planning out all of the features and the roadmap for the tool. Now, why did I create the tool? Well, first of all, the campaign logger is all about logging your campaign sessions. And I had a problem with that. I've had it for quite a while in how to get my notes out during sessions in a kind of coherent manner and in a way that I can find them useful. And also how to organize things, because I have different systems for planning my campaigns than I do for taking my notes. And things just, I haven't found the perfect tool for what I want yet. The thing with campaign planning is I used to use MyInfo and Evernote, and I actually have a course free to subscribers that for MyInfo that covers all of the features and how you can use that software for planning your campaign and running your campaign. But it was missing the campaign logging aspect, a fast and slick way to take notes during sessions. And so I also find using MyInfo, which I still use now, and Evernote, I've started using Evernote, playing around with it quite a bit and become quite good at it for specifically D&D use. Neither of the software programs are geared for role-playing games. And I need to track NPCs, plots, locations, items, and more. And these are specific to storytelling and specific to RPGs. And so session logging is a big big problem for me as well. And I've tried a lot of solutions to try to get my session notes in an organized, coherent manner. I've tried paper. I've got a notebook system going right now. I've tried index cards, a whole bunch of different software programs. And I've also tried asking a player to take notes. And actually, a player does take notes right now on my 5e campaign called Murder Hobos. And that's working quite well. But I also need my secret notes. If they get something appraised, or if they find some treasure before they get it appraised or before they get it identified, just for example, then I want those notes somewhere. And a lot of the time, I haven't gone to that level of detail in my campaign planning. I'll do a lot of ad hoc and on-the-fly type of GMing, so I need to record this stuff so that it's there for later use. And also, it needs to be recorded in such a way that it's fast and easy to find and it's organized. And so what I really wanted was something that was fast, so it wouldn't bog me down while I was GMing, and something that, even though I'm using a computer, wouldn't make me ignore the players for too long a time during the session. I wanted the computer to almost be just there in the background, and I'm quietly taking notes, and it's not interfering with my GMing. I also wanted easy editing. Right now, in my paper notebook method, and before that I used a index card method, I couldn't edit what I wrote down. It was also not in a digital format, so I couldn't copy and paste and move things around and do things how I wanted. And because it was hard coded into paper analog format, I couldn't sort and filter my notes. I can in Evernote and in My Info, but those have limitations, and you'll see why. When I start using the campaign logger, what I want is smart notes. I want to type something once, and I want it to understand what I'm typing in RPG terms, in what I mentioned about NPCs and locations and items and things. So I want my note-taking system to kind of be write it down once, go back and edit it if I need it, but otherwise it's creating my note system in multiple ways in one go. I don't want to have to retype my notes and link things up afterwards and have to create copies of things in different formats so that I've got all my cast of characters in one group and my game adventure notes and encounters laid out in another system. And I'm not describing it well, but ultimately I want everything to be simple. I want it to be fast and easy, and I want it to be clear so that when I'm going through my notes, I can read them easily. I know exactly what I'm talking about, and I can find things fast and easy. But I don't want some kind of cumbersome system where I have to use the software afterwards to kind of post-process my session logs to make the notes intelligent and linked together and easy to reference in the future. So I want smart notes, and I want the system to be dirt simple because I'm a dirt simple GM. So we invented the campaign logger, and an RPT patron stepped up and said that he was a programmer. He shared his apps in the GM Mastery Forum, and I was impressed with the apps. So I approached him and asked if he would be interested, and I pitched him my idea, and he said he loved the idea. And I've only spoken with him via text chat and in the forums and in email. So I've never pronounced his name before. And because I'm Canadian, my mouth is always full of bacon and syrup. So I'm going to mangle his name here. All right, but I'm going to try it now. It's Jochen Linneman. All right, Jochen, you can tell me if I've completely butchered your name. But Jochen and I have created this campaign logger for you to hopefully make your game mastering a ton simpler. So session logging I wanted to be, and just taking a step back, I want session logging to do my campaign planning at the same time, because I do less highly detailed planning these days and I'm more ad hoc. Even though my campaigns are more detailed than ever before, I've got factions and I've got multiple adventures and my sandbox style play, so I can't just create 5 encounters and have a linear railroad and know exactly what the characters are going to do. So I've got more going on in my campaign, and my body of notes is much larger for any given campaign these days. And I wanted my session logging and my campaign notes, my campaign planning to happen at the same time and for them to be fast and easy. And so what the campaign logger does is it allows you to enter your notes very fast. It creates smart notes, and you'll see what I mean by that in a moment. It creates notes that are that have been designed to capture RPG information. I've integrated it with loopy planning and my 5 campaign bucket system. But as you'll see, you can use the system however you want, however your brain works, however your software mode of GMing works. You can make it work that way for you. It works for any rule system. So I'm using it for D&D right now, but you could easily use it for Pathfinder, Savage Worlds, Fates, any OSR games, Vampire, GURPS, Hero. I'm just reading books off my bookshelf now. I'll stop naming systems. So it works with any system. It works with any genre. It doesn't matter if you're a sci-fi GM or a modern GM or a fantasy game master or historical punk steam fiction type of game master. It'll handle it all. You just use your browser to use it. So you've already got the software to run it. It just works through the internet. And it allows you to take notes during, before, and after sessions. So the tool, if you don't want to have a computer at your table, that's no problem. You can do a brain dump after a session. Just log in and do your brain dump, and it will work perfectly and allow you to sort and order things and have a coherent detailed log of what happened in the sessions. And you can also use the campaign logger before sessions to organize your thinking, to prep for games, to create your campaign. You can also use it for world building pretty easily. It captures all of this information and then sorts it and allows you to find it fast. And like I mentioned just now, it organizes your campaign for you. And the big thing though is it works through stream of thought as well as for more methodical type modes. So sometimes I'll just think about something and then I'll type it. And other times I just want to get it out of my head. I just want to write it in my notebook, dash out 1,000 ideas, just stop them from circling around and just get it down there. And it works elegantly for both ways. So if you're a meticulous campaign planner or if you're just flying by the seat of your pants, it'll capture all of this information and make it available and accessible to you right away. All right, I'm going to step into the demo here and I'll log into the tool and show you what it's all about. Here we are at the tool. I've already clicked the login link that you'll find in the top left corner here, and it will prompt you for your username and your password. I'll have sent that to you already by email. Just log in. Once you've done logging in, you'll see the menu change to Campaign Logger Logout. Click the Campaign Logger link. Okay, now we're into the Campaign Logger. There's a little bit of text at the top. That's a link to the forums. And it's a reminder that this is a beta. With the beta, all of your data can be saved and ported over into the official launch version if you want. Just let me know. I'll give you plenty of heads up when we're leaving beta and going into official launch. And so if you've started using this and you find the tool useful for your campaigns, we can preserve that data and make sure it's available to you after launch. Each of the campaigns that have been created by people in the system, by all the Role-Playing Tips patrons using the tool, will be listed here in alphabetical order. At the top, Jochen and I have created a Welcome to Campaign Logger log, and that will contain various notes and tips that you can check in on at any time to see if we've got updates on new features and responses to your feedback. I'll get into that in a moment. I'm going to quickly show you my Murder Hobos log. I used this last session to live log my campaign, and then I used it after the session to help me plan a bit. And this is what the campaign log, your campaign log, will look like. So it has a log this area at the top. This is where you will type in your campaign notes. It has a 250 character maximum limit. And then each of your individual logs will appear listed below in the order by Earth date that you entered them in. The pencil icon here means you can edit any of your campaign logs, your log entries, so you can fix typos, change the links, and update them. So this is it's a great activity after a session to review that session's notes and then to curate them and improve them and edit them. And then just click the check mark when you're done. The trash can then will delete your note, and in this way you can log with peace of mind because you can edit anything that you write later and you can delete stuff. So if you just get halfway through something and it's garbage, just hit enter a new log, go back and delete it afterwards. You'll notice that a bunch of words here are in orange. Anything that's in orange is a link. And if you click that link, it will give you all of the campaign logs that you have entered for the whole campaign log that you've created over time. And in this way, when you log something and mention an NPC or a location or an item, it will dynamically show you all of the instances, all of the times where you have mentioned that in your campaign log. So it is a record per thing where it creates the sort of the information about it as you log about it. So you can go back into past session notes and remember or recall what you said about an item. Or you can go back into a transaction and find out how much you promised the merchant would charge the PCs for fixing their armor. If you have an NPC interaction, you can then see all the times and the places and the locations that an NPC was interacted with and what that conversation entailed. You can log down to your combat round. So by default, the campaign date is month, day, year, or you can see a variety of formats here. They're all possible. And then you can also go down to the round level so you can track combat round by round for lasting effects, for just a record of how much damage was done. The faster combat course goes into auditing your combats so you can understand where your leaks are and where your time sinks are. you can use that system with this campaign log. It's part of the reason why I built it down. So it has year, month, day, hour, minute, second, and combat round. With my 5 campaign bucket system, it's actually 6 now, and with my loopy planning, I want to categorize my types of notes and the objects in my game so that I can manage them more easily, so that I just don't have this giant A to Z encyclopedia of things. I want categories so that I can see all of my NPCs in one view and all of my locations in another view. And so I call those, through the campaign bucket system, cast of characters, gazetteer, money, quartermaster, and then I have calendar. I actually call it timeline in my campaign bucket system, but Jochen and I decided to call it calendar because prior events, or events have happened that you've logged before the current session time, is your history or your backstory. The current, what's happening right now in a session, sort of like real time in the game, is your campaign log. And events that you have in mind or have planned for the future, in future time, is your event calendar or your plot. So to consolidate all those terms, we just called it calendar. And then you have the loopy planning or your plotting bucket, and then rules. So if you click on any of these buckets, then it will come up with dynamically a list of all the things that you have mentioned in your notes by type. So for example, when I tag things as NPCs in my notes, then I click on cast of characters at any time and I can see in alphabetical order all of the NPCs that I have logged about. And these are NPCs that I have either created in my planning stage by using the logger, or in real time during a game in my logging stage or phase. And after my notes cleanup, I'll go in and add NPCs to entries where I forgot to mention that they were part of an encounter or whatnot. And in plotting or loopy planning, if I have an NPC who's going to be doing something at a certain place in time, then I will just mention them and they will appear here. So this is dynamic. As you create things, your lists will get longer and longer, and so you will have a real view of what all is involved in your campaign. Click the campaign log link at any time to go back to your actual entries listing. So I've only got one session in here, so not all of my categories are listed, but you can go to Gazetteer, which is a location index. This is where all the locations where encounters have taken place, or I have thoughts, ideas, or encounters planned. If I click on Craigmont Castle, then this shows me all of the logs or all of the notes that you took related to just that particular note. So if you want to find an NPC fast, just click cast of characters, then go find your NPC. And by the way, I also log factions as NPC names. And then you can see where all the information that is related to that particular NPC. And so you can do this with all the people, places, and things in your campaign, along with keeping a record of the gold pieces, treasure found, how the PCs spend money, and how maybe they earn money if they're in businesses or crafters or whatnot. So any financial gold piece, credits, dollars, transactions go in the money category. And then there's a calendar category. And I forgot to mention and explained it poorly. All the notes are tagged with a real-time timestamp, so that we can order them by date entered. And then the calendar tag is meant more for your in-game calendar. You don't have to enter ahead of time how your calendar works, because all you need to do is use this format to enter the year, the month, and the date, and at your option, the hour, the minute, the second, and the combat round. So it will be in numeric order for sorting your calendar entries. So you don't have to set up your Pathfinder world calendar or your Forgotten Realms calendar or your Greyhawk calendar. You just create it as you go, and it will sort out by the date, the numbers that you have entered. And so that means there's no setup with this tool. You just log in and instantly start defining when things happen, and then they'll show up in order under your calendar log. And then I use loopy planning to talk about my plots and encounters and things that are happening. And I also have my sessions tagged. So I've talked about tags. When you create a log, well, actually, let me take a step back and show you how to create a campaign log in the first place. And then I'll get into the details on how to log your sessions and campaign notes. To see all the campaign logs, and you can create as many campaign logs as you need, especially if you have multiple campaigns, just click the campaign logger link at the top. You'll see all the campaigns. Then you can just click in the create new log box, give it a title, and then click create new log, and it will appear here in alphabetical order. You can edit your campaign and you can delete your campaign if you just want to play around with it. So this will be a brand new, fresh campaign. It has no log entries yet. And how the links work is like Twitter or social media, you can tag things. And the tag you use is what tells the system the type of thing that you're talking about. And the actual tagging legend or key is here in the sidebar, available to you at all times. If you want to mention an NPC in your game, use the @ sign. And then if you want to mention a location, then you just use the number sign. And if there's any kind of transaction involved, you use the $sign. And if there's an item involved, then you use the exclamation mark. Normally you would use a calendar entry at the beginning of the log. So you could go, if your year is 1456 and it is the 3rd month and it is the 12th day, use the % to tag your calendar note. Loopy planning could be, if you want, it started with your session. So session number 9, the date, what happens, and then maybe this is related to a specific plot line. So let's call it the drow plot. And as you can see here, you can use tags multiple times in the logs. And then just click the log this button or the enter return key to enter the log into the system. And now we'll see all of these things can be clicked on independently, and you can see their individual entries into the system. We've got one entry right now, so there's not a whole lot to look up, but let's go back, add another entry. Let's see, Krug, which is a PC name. So cast of characters can also include NPCs, the player characters, the GM, if you want to tag yourself with a particular note, or players or player names. You decide how you want to use the @ sign and what kind of organization you want the tool to do for you. Quick note. All right, we've got Krug going to the Crazy Anvil. Then Krug encounters a Dark Stranger. Boom. Now you can go back and edit these, you can combine them in the future, or you can just keep them going in rapid succession. And when we click on Krug, we see that his kind of history is slowly building up here, and we can see exactly what he's doing. And again, you don't have to use this just for session logging. You can create your campaign notes in here so that they're all organized by category and by specific entry. For rules, you use the tilde, which on my Mac keyboard is in the top left corner. And I use this to log house rules, rules discussions, and faster combat. We teach that you should identify any rules problems that come up that cause any kind of friction or delay or argument in the game, and then make a note of those and then look them up between the game, between sessions. You can assign that to a player. That's effective because now the player who does the research is going to be an expert in that rule, and you can consult with them at any time in future sessions, or you can look it up yourself. So here's one that never causes problems in games, right? I just made a quick note. Let's follow up on grappling. I've also made a kind of a hack or a custom way. Actually, Jochen suggested it to tag to-do items so that you can specifically find a list of all the things that you still need to do before, during, or after the session. And so you can tag it like this. Yeah. So now when we have our listing of chores to do between sessions, they're all listed here, and we can tackle them one by one. What I would like you to do next is use the tool. Then if you have any feedback, that is bug reports or something that could be improved or a new feature, hop into the forum, linked to at the top of the tool all the times, and create a thread or hop onto existing threads and provide us your feedback. Jochen and I are also using a tool called Trello to manage the roadmap and the feature development for the tool. We anticipate, well, we've already come up with a ton of ideas for how to add features and improve the tool, and we hope that you have a lot of ideas as well, but we can only do a couple of things at a time. So we're using Trello to kind of organize our workflow, and we can use this also to communicate to you sort of what is coming up next. So I just wanted to show you this and show you how our development process works, because we won't be able to accommodate all requests at the same time. Also, we will be trying to keep the tool as lean and mean as possible, and we don't want feature creep to occur, so that like Microsoft Word, where users only use 10% of the features and the rest are just confusing and kind of bloat the tool up and make it a bit harder to use, we want to keep the tool easy to use, easy as a campaign planner and session logger, and fun and fast. However, we will be adding more features as we go along, and so that'll be based on your feedback. Jochen and I will then prioritize where the feature development will occur, what order, and then we'll go through our different swim lanes here to make sure that things are done and actually completed, and then you've had a chance to test them, and then you can give us your feedback on them. So I just wanted to show you this. We have an organized system for handling your feedback, and we'll deal with everything in a priority queue type of order. Okay. Go in, log into the system, log into the tool, start using it, and enjoy. Hopefully you find it an additional useful tool for your GM toolbox.